No, audio's not coming through. Oh, wait on.
Nah, no audio at the moment. Just checking. Can we pause
Oh, no,
this
it's coming
thing?
through. Yeah, it's coming through.
You sure? Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. I don't know, for some reason, you don't do anything for 2 months and then you have to rebuild the entire thing and you forget how to do it. But anyway, we are back. A few technical difficulties, we'll break through those. We are here, obviously, to break down the who was it? 36ers. I've just been watching the Perth game, so I had Perth on the mind. I was about to say Perth, but it would be nice in a couple of weeks if we beat them for a third time on the season. But yeah, we're back to break down what was a phenomenal game. I think a strange 1:00 tip-off. It was a bit of a weird time for a game of basketball. I ended up driving up or down the M1 back to Sydney at the time, hoping to listen to it on the radio, but didn't end up doing that. Came all the way back and just thought, nah, clear my schedule. I'm just going to watch this thing, sit down and watch it. And yeah, didn't disappoint at all.
It was a great game. Great finish as well. Great finish.
Yeah, your video's struggling a little bit, but that's all. We'll plow on. We can still hear you. As always, like and subscribe. We are on Facebook right now, live. We put these up in replay on YouTube, and then in audio format, you can also get us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and on the Anchor platform too. I'm going to take these out because that's why I'm struggling. There we go. But yeah, as always, give us a like and subscribe, rating and review. Working hard here for the Kings, and after like a little bit of a struggling patch for about a month, it was a little bit like, I don't know what's going on with this team. We've reeled off, I think, 5 in a row now. Or was it 6 in a row? Are you there? I've lost you, I think. No, I think you might be gone. Wow. Tech is struggling tonight. Have some weeks off and totally gone. But yeah, I'll pursue. He'll probably come back in very soon. But fantastic to see this Kings team bounce back. And I think largely due to Jalen Adams. We're going to mainly talk about how good he was against Adelaide. But I think in general, he's come back and he's given us a bit of a spark that we were kind of missing. I don't know if we could have said back then it was a reliance on maybe using Jalen Adams in general, but I certainly think it might be a little bit involved. I think Chase Buford's changed up the program a little bit. We're playing a little bit less just straight up 5 out, and I think that's kind of working a lot better. And then I think he's texting me. He's dead as a doornail.
I'm back.
There? Yeah, what happened there?
My internet's bad because of the waterlogs.
Now let me just. It's currently just a picture of me, so I'm just gonna see if I can fix that.
Apologize
running
for
a totally new system at the moment. But yeah, just your thoughts on Jalen Adams in general while I try and fix your video.
He's legitimate, like a legitimate point guard. I think that he sees the floor extremely well. He shoots the ball well. He takes intelligent shots. And I thought he was legit, watching him for the Herd and a bit of time in Atlanta, is that, if he was 3 inches bigger, he'd be an NBA point guard. That's be real. He has the skill and the talent to, and somewhat defensive prowess, but not to be. But we're lucky enough to get him here. But yeah, man, he was the pickup of the season by a country mile. And it does help that the team is built small in a league full of shit big men. That's like that seems to be like we have terrible big men in this league at the moment, and this team seems to thrive against the lack of just big men.
I think going back a few months, maybe to about 3 or 4 games into the season, we've just seen Jalen Adams. We know how good he is in general, but did we really expect this kind of level that he's kind of been playing at the last few weeks?
I honestly did. I thought it was just purely game time. He hadn't played for like 15 months. and so he didn't get a lot of lead in. He was injured, and so I actually expected this from him. And this is what if you see it and you look at some of the guys from like Josh Majette from and Josh Adams from the Jack Jumps. Like it's taken them 10 games to win it, but they're explosively good players and they're good quality. And so I was expecting that kind of quality from him. I was expecting a little bit more from RJ Hunter than just tic tacs, but that's unfortunately sometimes the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, which is a bit of a shame, but we've managed to plug that gap, and we'll talk a little bit about that. One of the big things is I didn't really expect Jalen Adams to just go straight into scoring the ball, like that scoring mode. I think it's something we've been crying out for the last couple of seasons. We've had Casper Ware, and Casper, while he's had his strong points, I don't think he really hit the heights he hit when he was playing at Melbourne. But to have Jalen Adams come in fresh and just be able to knock down shots in general, like I think that's one of the main
Mm.
things that's really driven this upsurge in the last six-ish weeks. Just hitting shots. Like I don't care where I am. It doesn't need to be a setup. It doesn't need to be off a screen. It can just be a drive floater. He just makes scoring look easy, and I think it's a huge piece of why we've been a lot better. And it's kind of knitted the team together better in general. Like we haven't had to rely on Jarrell. Cooks has been great. Sort of, you don't have to rely on him as a main part of the scoring, and then having like Sean Bruce go back to the bench like a little bit. I think there's a little undertone of like, okay, Shawnee, just rein it in a little bit. I think that's also helped a lot as well.
Yeah, I think Sean Bruce has found his place back in the team. He's starting to get his confidence back and starting to hit some buckets. I think pressure kind of got to him a little bit there for a few games. He's not really like a premier point guard, but he hit some really important shots in his game on the weekend. And he played quite well. And he just, the less time he has the ball is the less amount of time to do dumb shit. Because he's a guy that tends to do a little bit of dumb shit on the court. Silly fouls, silly like niggly things, and a little bit of bit of argy bargy. So that's been good. But yeah, 35 minutes of Jalen Adams a game, it's pretty hard to stop. To be completely honest with you, definitely court visionary as well. Some of the dump offs to Cooks and Martin, and just getting guys open as well because you can see them collapsing when he goes to the rim. But yeah, man.
And yeah, that was going to be my next point, right? Is he knows how to orchestrate an offense and get people involved. And as much as Casper kind of did that a little bit, like I think Jalen Adams knows he can score the ball, so he can give it up in moments. Like he doesn't have to rely on making those passes and I'm going to like put myself in the shop window here and make this pass. Like it just happens in the flow of the offense because guys are really collapsing down on him because he's been scoring. He can get these dumps off, and to have guys like Cooks and Jarrell around the basket, I think it's going to be like as it builds, as it crescendos through the end of the season, I think some teams are going to struggle to stop it. We've seen, I think Adelaide, it's an interesting mix of players. Like I don't like their offense at all. I was watching that game just going like, swing, post up. That's great. Pass out of a post up, swing, another post up. Like, this is pretty rubbish offense. But at the same time, I think it was important for the Kings to kind of overcome a scenario like this, where it's just like, wow, we had dudes just literally barreling down at the hoop, like just barreling into guys at the hoop. And we weren't really getting that many calls. There was a little bit of like here and there, but we stood the test. Like I think a couple of seasons ago, we might have just crumbled in a moment like that. Like I think we saw a couple of losses in the last couple of seasons against Adelaide where it was just like, oh look, DJ pounds it inside, and then right at the end he just shoots some threes and they win a game. We definitely took that away from them, I think, a little bit. And it was good to see, like Bairstow, I think, and Jarrell are probably two of the premier big men in the league in terms of footwork, scoring, and then DJ as well. The more you kind of make him work, I think the less effective he becomes around the rim. Like he's a really good player around the rim, but the more you pressure him, make him work hard. And it was just Xavier Cooks, like on the defensive end, like he's just like, you're mine now. And you want some of this? You're mine now as well. And it was like, wow, man, he is just on another level as well.
He's that Jarrell up to he's that Jay Sean Tate uptake, isn't he? He's just 1 3-point shot away from playing in the NBA. Let's be real. Like,
Yeah.
as a bench piece in the NBA, he's 1 3-point shot away. Like, you don't really need to have a mid-range game to be successful as a piece in the NBA. You just need to be able to shoot the three, and he's that because he's kind of that all defensive NBL style player. But his post moves are just crazy on another level for the NBL. Just like some of those spin moves and finishing and putbacks are just crazy. So,
and just knowing that he can dunk the ball through traffic. That dunk on Soto was just phenomenal. And I watched the replay again just before we went live. Like, Soto sees it, and you can tell he sees it and goes, right, I'm going to try and block that. And he's just too late. Like, Cooks was just in the perfect position. He just went up and yammed that thing. It was great to see. I think he had 3 dunks, some pretty big ones too. And that gets us going too. Like, I think it gets this team going. Like, we love a good highlight dunk. We've seen Jalen Adams pull off the highlight dunk. Jarrell likes to dunk in traffic. And I think, spurs this team on. Role player wise, like I was saying before, relegating Shawnee Bruce to, you just need to do a couple of things now, mate. Like, we're not relying on you now to score the ball. You don't have to create that much. You just come in and out of the team a little bit. And I think that's kind of a little bit better for Shawnee Bruce, the level that he's playing at now. And then you got other guys like Glover coming into the mix. He's been a little bit quiet. And Wani, I think we should talk quickly about Wani's on-ball defense has been massive as well. Like, his ability to just, all right, I'm just going to lock up the opposition guard. And he did a really good job on McCarron early. I think Jalen Adams defensively isn't as good as he is offensively. I think that's a given, and that's fair enough, because all the best point guards, you don't say are as good as they are defensively as they are offensively. But some of this role player stuff's kind of just falling into place. Wani's defense off the bench, and then Ian Clark defensively. Yeah. I was not expecting the level of on-ball that he's been giving.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's from playing in the Warriors system. You've got to be a good defensive on-ball player if you're getting any kind of minutes in a Warriors system. You forget he played in that 2016-17 run.
I watched a lot of that, and he didn't do a lot. There was a lot of actually kind of him and West off the bench, like 2-man game where they were both on a certain wavelength, which I think as the season goes on, we might see a little bit more of that with the bigs that he's out there on the floor with. But the level of actual legitimate on-ball that I've seen from him is giving us another push as well, because I think having Bruce, Wani, and then Ian Clark as another guy, and then like you can throw Jalen Adams at dudes. Like, he's not a minus on defense. He's not great, but he's not a minus. I think it's an underrated little aspect of our little surge at the moment too. And, hats off to Buford, man. He's kind of solved this a little bit. I think it would have been very easy to sort of say, 5 out doesn't work, man. And then he kept doing it for a little bit. Like, we're not sitting here going like, oh, well, he just changed it overnight. And that's what's like, he kept that going for maybe 2 or 3 games more until Adams came back, found his legs. And then I think he just collapsed it a little bit. Like, instead of just going, right, we're just going to change the thing up totally, he collapsed it just a little bit. And I think the speed aspects kind of kept us running and kept us in these games.
Yeah. Yes, transition offense definitely is superior with the quick team they have. I mean, like, their slowest player on the floor is Joel Martin, and he's by no means a lumbering center. So, I mean, that's he's actually a good fitter.
Like, he looks a little bit better. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Defensively, he's still a little bit, but I think like it's like the pull along effect, right? It's like, well, you have to be quicker, man. Oh, okay, and then you get a boost, right? And just the level that Cooks is playing. I mean, 25 points. Dunks galore, hit a 3, which was a nice, that rainbow, like just the dagger at the end of that first half. It was funny because there was like Dusty Hannis at the start of that game, and Withers, like I think Withers fired the crowd up off like one of the first couple of threes that he made. And you're like, it's 2 minutes into the game, man. Like, all right, get the crowd fired up. And then I think he had 2 air balls over the next few minutes. And then Dusty Hannis came out and just was carving it up. We couldn't stop him at all. And I think like seeing that was interesting. Like, ooh, little fast guard. That's very Cotton-like. Like, he's obviously not on the same level as Cotton. It was interesting to see how this team kind of changed it up late. We'll go on about. But at the end of that first half, he'd hit those free throws, and I actually accidentally just was like, okay, he's hitting these free throws. I'll just skip to the highlights in the half, and it was like, what? That score doesn't look right. Like, it's not 47-42. Like, what the hell? And then I went back and I saw him hit that three. It was just like so good, man. For a guy like Cooks, just awesome.
Yeah, it's like I said, you want your Australian talent to be able to go overseas and thrive, and for the Boomers to keep going. Just quite quietly, the Boomers just beat Japan in a World Cup qualifier.
Not much fanfare about that.
It's not. It's on YouTube, so you can watch the full game on YouTube. They're live on YouTube, but it's a pretty basic NBL, not even NBL kind of like. I mean, our best player by far is Nick Kay, and he's still amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like, but Angus Brand's playing. It was like, dude, I haven't seen that name for a long time. Angus Brand's playing, and they played really well, man. Just his rim game against a whole bunch of Japanese people.
Yeah.
Just chub rim game.
Still out there?
No, man, he's not. He had to take his polio.
What about Rue? Did Rue end up making an appearance? No, he'd be playing NBA.
He's NBA. No, this is big.
Remember when we watched that game, man, and he just tore us apart.
Yeah.
And then
him and Nick.
A season later, we were just like, what? He's 6'9" and like 220. What the hell? What happened to him, man? He was like small and just tearing us apart. But I think it's interesting too because did you think Bairstow played well in that game?
Yeah, I think Cam Bairstow has definitely had a bit of a resurgence this season. He looks good, man. Mid-range games there, he can shoot three, plays on the low block well defensively. Annoying some guards as well, which I found quite strange because really not known for his quick footwork in his Illawarra days or anything like that. So yeah, he's had a resurgence. He's definitely one of the premier power forward centers in the league. He's kind of the glue guy to keep Adelaide together because their offense is kind of really started without him on the floor. It just kind of it goes nowhere. And Humfo's been a real disappointment this year as well.
Yeah,
a dude that had so much promise.
And then
he's been a real disappointment.
Like I was saying, like just watching the start of that game was just like post up, swing, post up, swing, post up. It was just like, what, really? Like, is this what your offense is? Withers is a shooter. Detch, who I like defensively, he's kind of on that Wani level or Bruce level of just like, can't rely on him to get 20 points a game. And then I thought we just put the clamps on McCarron. It's like, okay, well, we'll let Dusty Hannes, beat us. And then we kind of put the clamps on McCarron. And then when McCarron play makes in the team, you look at it and just go, there's too many bigs, man. Like, way too many bigs here, boys. And then Kai Soto. What do you think of Kai Soto?
Gimmicky.
Kind of looks like G League. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just
college level.
Filipino taco.
Yeah.
Filipino taco for.
I like that. Yeah.
He's kind of you're 7'3". Does he have some skill? Yeah, he's got some skills. He's not the most skilled big, but I mean, look, we haven't really been a good judge of character. So I thought LaMelo was overhyped, and he's.
Mate, no, I'm not taking an L on that. That showing for Illawarra, there's no way anyone who was just like, what was that? And then sees him in the NBA doesn't just go, no. That was totally different. Totally different. Yeah. Like, what he showed us in the NBL was just like, I'm just going to take 19 shots, and like all of them are going to be bad. Whereas somebody clearly like intercepted him before he went into that draft and went into that Hornets
Michael
team
Jackson,
and went
Michael
like,
Jordan.
Bang, like, you're not going to do this. And he went, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And, but I like Soto. If he fills out, man, like, he could be a nice little player if he ends up going over and getting drafted. I can see him kind of getting stashed a little bit.
Yeah, he'll get deep second round G League.
I think he just kind of came up against our red hot bigs, small bigs. They're not natural bigs. They're not big bigs. No. They're kind of small bigs, and that's a real interesting wrinkle because we've got the ability to kind of just you know, try and beat Cooks, and people get goaded into this. Yeah, all right, I'll smash Cooks, and Cooks just goes, yeah, you didn't beat me. Like, and then Jarrell's a little bit like that as well. And I think on Bairstow, great footwork, travels just so much, so many uncalled travels. I was watching this so many times. Slow down, yeah, that's travel. But if you can get away with it in this league, I think like, all hats off to you. And it kind of made me think a little bit like, man, if we could get Jarrell some of these looks, like Jarrell didn't have the greatest game, but like if we can get him looks where you're just like, oh, swing, post up. I think he has the ability to be like a Bairstow where he just tortures people inside with his fadeaways and floaters and stuff like that. And any other no makers appearance? Bales had a few minutes too. Clark 3 of 10, a couple of silly fouls. But all in all, that was a pretty good performance. Even though DJ looked a bit. He hit a couple of big shots, but like a little bit
shots. But you know, he's streaky. He's streaky. You know that he has some bad games, but then the next game he drops 30. Oh, that's why.
It's a little bit like
team as well.
Jalen makes him a little bit redundant.
He does, but like this is the whole thing, right? Is that he makes him redundant, and then he's just like, and DJ hits the dagger. You know,
well, that's the thing, right? Because Jalen can get to the foul line off the dribble, and then once, you know, DJ off ball makes that move, Jalen can just hit that floater anyway. So it's like he's not necessarily looking for a kick out into the corner or a kick out to 11 o'clock. Jalen can kind of make those floaters. So I think as the season goes on, I'd like to see, you know, DJ come off a high screen and then Jalen hit him with a couple of those, you know, spot up shots for three. I think if he starts to knock those down, then yeah, definitely. But I feel like he kind of needs something else to his game, like maybe a little drive game. He's always struggled, I think, a little bit on the drive and score game, but it'll be interesting to see how he fits over the next few weeks. But ultimately, as Jalen Adams making these shots, you know, we're just riding that, and you know, the fall will come. Those little floaters, I think there'll be a time where they don't go. But I do like, you know, the Cooks spark, the Jarrell Martin spark. We've got Glover spark off the bench. Brucey can run a little point, shoot a little bit, 2 or 4 from 3 in this game. Not as many assists, but still, you know, making things happen. And then we've still got, you know, DJ, and then Wani's shots just fallen off a cliff, but he can come back. And then Clark can take these outrageous threes and hit them. And you go, ooh, you know, we've finally got a little yo-yo action here, which I think is going to hold us in some good stead for the rest of the season. Now, should we do 3-2-1?
Cool.
36ers. I had Adams I had Cooks for 3.
I had Adams for 3, Cooks for 2. Yeah, I'm going to draw 1.
I'm going to go Bruce for 1. I thought Brucey was pretty important off the bench. And you went Jarrell Martin. And I think that about covers the game in general. Do we want to go into next week's tipping? The round actually hasn't finished yet, and I haven't done the thing, which is pretty annoying. I'll do it on the fly. What are we doing here? We want fixtures.
We actually haven't got that many rounds left, I don't think.
He was explaining it in the telecast. Like, he was going, like, they're going to play this guy, this team, this. And I was just like, too fast, man. Slow down. Like this run doesn't mean anything. And then he said at the end, they don't have to play Melbourne, and they play Perth once. And I was like, well, we've got Perth in the bag anyway at the moment. And then not playing Melbourne is also huge. But we just haven't played the Taipans at all this season, and the 36ers. So I'm sure there's just a bunch of Taipans and 36ers games.
Yeah, we've got Taipans 2 weeks in a row. Single game weeks, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, well, that's you know, basically because we haven't played
14 them. is Taipans, Kings Taipans week. 15 is
Types.
Kings Taipans, and it's 1 game week as well. So we've kind of hit the the brakes on games. I mean, we're 3 ahead of Perth, and you know, it's 4 ahead of Cairns. So yeah, we're kind of slowing down. I suppose Sydney's had the least disruption since the season started. So, yeah, man, we've come right into $4 as well to win it as well, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think we're worth it for that. I think this team's got a real puncher's chance. We're kind of hitting that stride at the right time.
Yeah.
5 in a row. It says 5 in a row here. I think it's 6 in a row. All right, 36ers are at home to Southeast Melbourne to start.
36ers.
I'm going Phoenix.
They always have a
Phoenix
good.
are hot, man.
Yeah,
They beat Perth. I think they're
they do.
starting to become the real deal. It's time to get on that wave.
They always lose stupid games. They lose stupid games.
It's so true. They just like lose these games where you're just like, what are you doing? Jack Jumpers are then at the Silverdome to the New Zealand Breakers.
Oh, we're breakers.
This man needs points. Melbourne United are playing Brisbane at John Cain.
Melbourne.
United for me. I'm going Jack Jumpers against the Breakers. 36ers are then at home in Adelaide against Perth.
Perth.
Yeah, Perth for me. Perth's an interesting one, man. A few games, yeah, sucking in the big ones. A few games away from home, eh? A few losses. Interesting.
Yeah, they're behind though. They've still got a chance to pop ahead of us. So does Illawarra as well. So we're kind of we're in the mix, but we're not free by any means.
The Kings are then playing the Taipans at home.
Yeah, Kings.
Easy. It's got like, and they lose finally after 6 games. They have a stinker and lose at home, and everyone goes, "Oh my god!" Yeah, I'm going Kings as well. Southeast Melbourne are playing the Illawarra Hawks.
Well, the Hawks have been terrible.
They've been up and down, man. Rough.
I'm gonna go Southeast Melbourne. You're gonna bounce back from their loss to Adelaide.
Oh man, that's the game where I'm like, Phoenix is going to come unstuck in this game. But yeah, you're right. The Hawks. What are we looking at? Mitch Creek. Kind of in that small forward, power forward area is where the Hawks have struggled too. Like they've got chalky shooters. They've got Sam Froling, who's a little bit undersized. I'll go Phoenix as well for that. No, I've totally flip flopped. Phoenix are going to continue their epic run. And then to finish out the round, Monday is New Zealand Breakers, technically at home to the Bullets.
We're going to go to the Bullets.
Bullets. Can't believe they lost to the Taipans. Jesus. And that is next week's tips. Should we talk any Kings going forward? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty straight round a couple of weeks against Cairns. Cairns are just...
Poor old 40.
Machado, yeah.
Oh, he just complains so much. So much to the point where you're like, just stop complaining and play, man. Like, can you stop? Like, relax. Like, just relax and you might play better. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
I think they've had Nate Jarwai out as well. They've got a very young guy, Bowl or Buol or something like that. I'm going to brick the name, but I'm trying to bring up their team here. Who's just been knocked. Any time I've looked up and seen him take a shot, he's knocked it down, and I'm like, whoa, all right, sweet. Which is kind of the role that Majok Deng should be playing, and he hasn't really been doing it. Pinder, you always get like the fake hustle minutes. Kuol, not Bowl, Kuol. And then Jerrick's kind of come back and is just hitting a few threes here and there. Still awful. And then Zimmerman started the year quite well. He's another one where you just may be looking at it going, ooh, don't know. Like, will he be the one to stop Cooks and Jarrell getting to the hoop? But then you kind of look at it and go, probably not. Like a bit of a one-man army. You look at the rest of that team, it's kind of all smalls. Majok Deng's quite a slight forward. And then Tahir McCall taking 20 shots against Brisbane, and you're like, that's a lot of shots, man, for 12 points. Sure thing. But yeah, I'd hope that we're just going to handily dispatch of them.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so.
Got a few stats here.
Yep.
Xavier Cook's averaging 13 points. That's pretty big.
I think he's top 5 blocks as well. I think he's 4th.
He has 1.7 blocks a game. Let's take it out to the.
He's 4th in blocks. He's in rebounds. He's 2nd at 9.4 rebounds per game. Only Zimmerman's above him. They could take out the rebounds, and he's
Yeah, wow, what a season! That's some
17th in points. So I mean, like that's
some pretty illustrious company. There's some pretty good stats, man. I can't praise him enough because he has been just and loves it too. Like it's always great when you see someone that deserves and plays like they deserve. He doesn't complain. He doesn't whinge. Doesn't he's not a diva. Always like after also in the post game congratulating other people, saying, "Oh no, Glover came in and he played really well. The whole team's playing really well. It's great to see." And it's always great when those sorts of players get their dues. And yeah, he's just been fantastic. Can't give him enough praise. But yeah, I think we'll end it there. I don't think we've got anything else. A couple of games against the Taipans, hopefully a little champagne poppers against them. Get a couple of wins under our belt. As always, we're live right now on Facebook. We'll put these up on replay on YouTube. You can always listen to us back in replay on Facebook as well. Or you can go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Spotify and Anchor and subscribe to us and listen to us in audio format. That will be up after this podcast very soon after I rip it. And as always, we'll be back next Monday night. So we will see you guys next time.
King's Die.